All right, sitting here with Hendrik Human, and thanks for having me in your gym. Firstly, it's good to be in Cape Town. Good to be interviewing you for the first time. You coming back to professional boxing now, and I wanted to ask firstly, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
You're all good. And why come back? Why come back now? Because you had left professional boxing as a trainer. Why make a comeback?
You know, when it's in your blood, it's in your blood. You know, I have a lot of fighters that want me to train them, and I'm trying to get out of it. And the reason I got out of professional boxing was what you just spoke about now. Training guys for fight, cancel the fights. Training guys for fight, cancel. It happened to me like 6-7 times on a row. Now, I'm a kind of guy, I give 100%. I give 120%. No sponsors. I had to give them tackies, dehydrate their food. On one training camp, 8 weeks, cost me 5,500 rand out of my pocket. And as people know, I've made champions, I've made SA champions. I give a best to a fighter. So when you train a guy for a fight, 6-8 weeks for a fight, and 2 days away from the fight, you don't understand what it does to a person. It kills you. You know, the fighters are sitting there, the oaks are crying, they go to alcohol, they run to alcohol, they run to drugs. I don't blame them because they're broken, you know. And this happened to me too many times. You know, I trained Koguchi and Ndidi 3 times for Ngluvi, cancel the fight, Oscar, cancel the fight. Eventually I just said, hey man, the state that boxing is in the Western Cape, or I would say in South Africa, it's bad. Right? A year later, Nick Turan gave up his organization. Because me and Nick were friends. Nick said the same thing to me. He says, boxing is finished, Hendrik. You know? And, you know, I mean, I've made SA champions with Colin. You know, Colin and me are very good friends. I did my training camp with Colin. Taught me a lot about boxing. He's my mentor on boxing. I don't care what anybody says, best trainer in South Africa, you know? And he's put on social media one day, he said, you need to come back to professional boxing, you know? And Colin kept on pushing me. And I said, Colin, look at the fights, look at Cape Town boxing, it's a joke. He said to me, you're very talented, come back to professional boxing. So I gave it thought. I thought, okay, and then fighters were just texting me left, right and center, you know? And then 2 very good fighters came, I turned them down. I turned them down, you know? And then another good fighter came now recently and said, Coach, you're the only guy I'm going to train with. So I spoke to Colin about it. I said, I want to give this guy a chance. So yeah, it just got kind of like fell back on my lap, you know. And I mean, I want to make a change in professional boxing in the Western Cape like I did in the beginning. I mean, I made the first SA champion in the Western Cape in 15 years. The first one was on Kifana. Then I went to East London. I stopped Nick Sky and round 4. I'd made my second SA champion, WBF champion, Western Cape champion, you know. So there must be something I think I have, you know, that I can pull this off, you know. But the problem is, I'm just worried about the fights. You know, I mean, you heard this weekend there was a tournament. Guys went there, same day the fight, the whole tournament as well. This is ongoing thing in professional boxing, and that's the reason why I stopped professional boxing. For no other reason for that.
Well, I mean, let's just talk because it's countrywide, right? But it's. Western Cape boxing is not exactly in the best state, is it? I mean, if we look at Western Cape, I mean, you're amongst a number of trainers that are here that are trying to make it. How difficult is it in the Western Cape in particular?
There's no sponsors. There's no TV rights. There's without TV, how's it going to work? And that's what I mean. Jackie Price, he's doing the boxing tournaments now, and you know, I'm trying to get him a sponsor on board, but because half of these promoters stole all the money. The trust is broken, you know, so it's going to be very difficult, you know. So I'm trying to do something with Colin. I don't know what we're going to do. You know, it's just very, very difficult. I've never rated Western Cape boxing. I mean, if I had a choice, I'll go to Joburg, but my calling is in Cape Town. I love Cape Town. I like the vibe. It's and I think there's a lot of talent here. A lot of talent here. You know, I'm a real boxing trainer. You drink, you smoke, you're out in my gym. I don't tolerate nonsense like that. You got to be disciplined in the sport. And you know, Nick Turan, Colin Nathan, the same thing. They don't tolerate stuff like that. You know, guys drinking weekends and stuff. I don't tolerate nonsense like that. You know, you got to be serious. So I now. They're doing tournaments, Jackie's doing tournaments, they try to get it up. We try to put fights together now, and I really don't know with the COVID how things are going to be. But there is hope. There is hope. You know, I decided to come back. I'm training a good fighter, Tapibi Tembu. I think he should have been a champion long ago. Very hardworking guy, humble guy. For me, I think he's a very special fighter. And he's training today. He's training every day out of fights. He's training. So I don't want to take on too many fighters now, because I don't want to, with there's no sponsors and stuff. Then I have to, they're going to be independent to themselves. So Tapibi Tembu is a fighter that I'm really concentrating on now, and we're fighting on April. We're doing a 6-rounder warm-up fight, and then we're going to see his performance and see, and then we're going to take it from there.
You mentioned right there you have a lot of talent in Cape Town, but we are seeing boxers decide to move to Johannesburg for different reasons. What is your opinion on the situation on the latest moves to Johannesburg?
I think they're pathetic boxing trainers here. I think the boxing trainers here, they're sitting on their phones while the guy's punching a bag. Guy's sitting on the phone while the guy's skipping. Come on. What kind of boxing trainer is that? I don't think these boxing trainers are very serious. That's my opinion. I'm not saying all Emil Price and them are good boxing trainers. They're old school. They know what they're doing. But these up and coming boxing trainers here, they're actually a joke. They think they can hold a bit of pads, and they're boxing trainers. These weekends they sit up drinking and smoking, getting drunk. That to me is not a boxing trainer. I'm sorry. Angela Dundee, Freddie Roach, all the greatest trainers in the world, Eddie Fudge. You never see them did stuff like that. I myself, I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm very dedicated to this craft, And I think people go up to Joburg because there's opportunities there. I mean, Joburg boxing trainers are serious. Nick Durant, Manny Fernandez, Harold Forbrach, Peter Smith, Colin Nathan. These guys are serious trainers. They take boxing very, very serious. I mean, I go to training camp with them and I see what they do compared to the guys in Cape Town. I'm not saying all the Cape Town trainers are like that. I'm saying some new up and coming trainers that I think to be a boxing trainer too, it's a gift. You gotta have that thing to bring the best out of a fighter. I don't think that some fighters are the most talented guys, but they work hard, and a trainer can bring the best out of you. And I think that's where I've got a little bit different. I can make people believe in themselves. I think that's just my gift. So I think people go up to Joburg because of the state of professional boxing is in Cape Town. There's hardly fights. Joburg, there's a little bit more opportunity than Cape Town.
One thing I wanted to talk about as well, which is interesting, which people can actually learn about you, and one thing that I picked up is you have a hero, but it's not a boxing hero, Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how you sort of channeled his energy and why you like him so much.
Yeah, Bruce Lee has been my mentor since I was young. I was rated 3-4 times the biggest collector in South Africa, trained with his best friend in America. I mean, who doesn't like Bruce Lee? He's the best role model in the world. I mean, look at the guy's body. He's the icon of discipline, And I kind of like put Bruce Lee with boxing. Like, if you look at Bruce Lee, you see discipline. Boxing is discipline, 150%. I'm 47. I train 3 times a day. I train 5-6 days a week. I think I got a better six-pack than some of these fighters. The thing is this: you have to take boxing very seriously. You got to take yourself seriously. If you want to be a champion, you got to live like it outside the ring. You can't have late nights with friends. You can't booze. You can't drink. You have to sacrifice. Unfortunately, nobody held a gun to your head and said become a professional fighter. You chose it. If you chose it, taste to swallow the blood, my man, and don't cry about it. That's what you chose. So Bruce Lee, because I never grew up with a father in my life. So the first Bruce Lee movie I saw, I was like 4 years old. I was like, man, this guy's like, I kind of turned to him because of a role model. And his quickness, his discipline. That's what I was 17, I was 24. I used to look at Nick Durant and Colin Nathan on TV, and I was like, geez, these guys are such good trainers. Never knew I was going to fight against them one day, And Uncle Nick is my mentor, probably the best trainer, boxing trainer, besides Colin, this generation ever came from this country. And at 2012, on my birthday, I fought against Uncle Nick in Orange Theatre, and we stopped each fighter around 4 with a left hook to the body. And they said me and Nick are gonna fight because we're both the same, And Nick didn't know that he's my mentor, And Nick went off and everything, and I went up to him and I said, Uncle Nick, you know what, you're my mentor. Since I was a little boy, you know, just because I beat you today doesn't make me better than you. You know, you've been my mentor my whole life. I've always looked up to him. You know, I mean, the guy's an unbelievable trainer. That day it was for me. We won the fight, and you know, and I always called Nick for advice. And you know, I still believe the guy's is like a legend. You know. So yeah, and I made Western Cape Boxing proud. I brought back the SA title from East London with a knockout, and that hardly ever happened, you know. So that was yeah. I was crying. I was like, man, I can't believe I did it, you know. And then we fought Twani. I can't really get his surname. Twani for the WBF title. I won the WF title, and then Koguchi Wandili for the Western Cape title. We knocked out Thompson Pee in round 2. Yeah.
And let's talk about what you mentioned a bit earlier. You train 3 times a day, like all week. What do you make of trainers that, you know, they don't train at all? They just like.
You know, I have a thing. Average people train once a day. Special people train twice a day. That's my belief. I believe something. There's good diets and there's bad diets. Bad diets is when you don't rest enough. You're not getting the right nutrition. Too much sex in the week. Too much sparring. That fatigues you. All right. If you sleep well, you take the right vitamins, you eat right, and you cut off too much sparring. And I'm a big believer that sex fatigues a person. So in the week, you stay away from the things. Anybody can do it. Right? The thing is it takes passion to do it. I mean, you know, I train 6 days a week. I train every single day of my life. I train. Okay, I do boxing. Sometimes I box 6 days a week. Some days I box 5 times a week. Some days I do 2 boxing sessions a day. Sometimes, all right, because I have a foot injury. And I'm a coach. You know, I'm a coach because I live boxing. Boxing is my life. It's just things that make me happy. It keeps me away from trouble. It keeps me away from the nightlife. It keeps me away from all the things. And I want to give back to somebody that's hungry, like a champion like Tapiwe, that really deserve to be a champion. And I want to give back to him. For me, it's not about the money. It's not about the ego. It's not about comparing myself with other people. I don't care about what other people do. It's about getting him a belt and putting a belt up and look at, because he was my first professional fighter. It's a special bond between us. And I just want to put my arms around him and said, I know you could do it, my man. That's all I want, you know. And yeah, I think that's the biggest gift in the world is to make another guy's dream come true, you know.
And when guys, I'm gonna finish with this one lastly. When guys want to come make a dream come true, and like they're watching your interview and they're saying, "I actually want to come join you. I'm in the area," or maybe they want to travel to you. How do they do that?
Just one thing: discipline with me. Don't come to me when you're drinking and smoking. I don't want it. If I catch you drinking and smoking, you're out. You got to be serious with me. Serious, 100% serious. You train every single day. That's it. That's how I operate. My gym is in Gardens. They can find me on social media on Over the Top Boxing, CTN. They can add me there. I'm on Facebook as well, Hendrik Human, Over the Top Boxing Gym. They can contact me there. And just like I said, I want dedication 100%. You know, if you can't handle hard training, you can't handle discipline, don't even waste my time.
Simple as that, eh?
Simple as that, eh?
All right.
And I learned this from Colin Nathan myself, my mentor. He's my mentor. Taught me a lot about boxing, and really a man that I really look up to, Colin Nathan. I still say he's the best trainer in South Africa, and he stands out for me as a trainer.